I just broke up with my girlfriend, Lori. She wants to see other people, and I hate company. We didn't have enough in common. Lori likes to go dancing. I like to stomp my foot till I get some feeling back. I use the expression ahead of schedule. Lori preferred the word premature. Of course, we had to go to Facebook, change our relationship status. I have it's complicated. Lori has no, it ain't. This is the second time we've broken up. First time I caught her Googling assisted living. We met in a grocery store. My mind was wandering. I accidentally bumped into Lori. Lori got annoyed, said, WTF? Said, no, AARP. For our first date, we went out to dinner, or as Lori called it, lunch. I wanted to be fair with Lori, so I told her I was older than I looked. She said, that's not possible. Our first night together was a disaster. Lori believes in the zombie apocalypse, and I forgot to tell her I sleepwalk. The sex was great. The bedroom could get noisy. I'd be yelling, sweet Jesus. Lori would yell, God, why hast thou forsaken me? And of course, at some point, the nurse yells, clear. That's what's known as a triage à trois.
It gets weird, you know, being single, going on dates. Like one time I was in between an architect and a guy who could do a headstand. These were my options. And the architect is great, because women, we like to say what a guy does for a living. You know, we like to say, oh, he drew that. That was, you know, look, architect. Headstand guy, I don't know how to explain that at a party. If I take him to the party, how am I gonna? They go, what do you do, baby? Go outside and show them that amazing headstand that you can achieve. I mean, it's great stuff. He's on Instagram, it's like in the sun, he's like, I went on a date with him. On the date, he wasn't drinking, which is weird. That's how you get through a date. He's just sober-facing me the whole time. So I asked him, I go, do you drink? That's a normal question to ask someone when they're not drinking, you know, but it threw him. One eye went the other way. And this is what he said, I kid you not. He goes, well, when I'm at the strip club, I have sangria. There's so many problems with that answer. It's on so many levels. It's just, you can't even deal with all the levels of problems in that. I was in a small restaurant in New York. There was a guy in the corner just like, yeah, no, you don't want it. And then I'm wondering, is there a guy at the strip club just chopping fruit for sangria? Kiki's good tonight, yeah. Trying to do things different, though. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, I used to date young. I can't date young anymore. The court said I can't. I can't even look at them, no. I don't mean to. It's like I said, I aged well, and they just come at me. You know, I'll be hanging out at the GameStop, and they just come into my life. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, you want this? Come and get it. But it was exhausting. Dating young, this guy was always awake, just looking at me. Like, what next? I was like, nothing, motherfucker. Take a nap, shit. Go to sleep. This was 3 whites ago, by the way. 3 whites ago. He talked a lot too. Oh my God, he talked so much. I told him, I said, I need some white noise and I don't mean you, okay? Exhausting, you know? And then he would do things. One time he left his jeans in front of the toilet, like just the jeans in front of the toilet. Like it looked like he took a dump and then just walked away. Like when I got there, it looked like a ghost was taking a shit. I was like, why is this ghost constipated? Get out of here. So I can't date young anymore. No more young guys. Now I'm dating older, which is, yeah. Well, older guys, they got a lot of baggage, you know? They're not carry-on. They checking shit underneath that plane. I'm just hanging out underneath the divorce tree, just waiting for that apple. It's not a lot of good apples left. And I'm not supposed to be out here. I'm supposed to be knitting shit for my grandchildren, and they have it's like now dating an older, I get a whole family. I don't just get a guy, I get a family. I don't just get my dating app would be different. This family looks good. Oh, mom did a good job there. I went on a date with a guy and his daughter. Yeah, he brought her. He had to, you know. And this little girl was such an asshole. She just smiled at me the whole time, like, you're not gonna get laid, you're not. Because you can't get in between a man and his daughter. You can't. She's not letting you in. She was like, you're not. Then she asked me, she goes, why don't you have kids? I was like, Wait till you go to sleep. I'm gonna make something with your dad. Just close your eyes, little girl. Just close your eyes. Here's the plus side of dating an older man. You don't have to meet their parents. Some good things to that. This was a while ago. I was having sex with this older man. And, he finished first, as they always do. And then he looks at me and he goes, my dad died and I didn't know him. What should I do? And I was like, wait for me to finish first? I can't even answer, I'm tense right now. I can't even answer your question, and I'll tell you what, I don't think your dad would be proud of you. I know your mom would be very unhappy with you right now.
I've been spending time in Los Angeles, and it's like, you talk about a lack of self-awareness. Like, I've gone out with people. I went out with a girl. It's my fault for going out with her, but you get lonely. Like, she had that Hollywood face, she had the thing and she looked like she was eating a lollipop, but there was no lollipop. She just like, And she had and all night long with that energy and the thing She literally looked like an advertisement for a store that sells heads. She was like, And all night long with that energy. And then at the end of the night, I asked her to go back to my place, and she was offended. She goes, I don't know who you think I am. And I was like, hey, fuck you. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but don't pretend to be offended after this. Me? What do you mean by me? Like, how about some self-awareness? What are you communicating to the world? It's like, if I walk into a biker bar with a helmet and somebody is like, hey, do you ride? I'm not gonna be like, the fuck made you think I ride? No, I don't ride. A man can't wear a helmet in this part of town without people assuming shit about how he got there? No, I don't ride. Everybody should wear a helmet. It's safer that way. You never know when something's coming down. We should all wear helmets. The point being after a while, it's like even the nature of beauty begins to shift, you know? Like living out in, I don't mean to knock Los Angeles, there were perfectly nice parts of it, but that populace, it's like, there's nothing beautiful about beauty if there isn't something decent attached to it or underneath. Like, dating, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything new, but it should be like dating in Los Angeles is like swimming with dolphins. At first, one brushes up against your leg, and you're like, oh. And then after a few hours, you're like, get me the fuck out of this fish tank, man. I don't want to be in here anymore. Can somebody toss a book into this water? I'm dying in here. I don't have anybody to talk to. I can't relate to anybody. I went out with a girl who would yell at me for no reason. Again, if I were healthier psychologically, I wouldn't have done it. Would yell at me for no reason, and then excuse herself based on childhood trauma. Like I was doing the dishes wrong. And out of nowhere, she goes, ah. And then she goes, sorry, I was molested. And I was like, was it a half hour ago? Because that's the only way that behavior would be reasonable. And I'm not making fun of what happened to her. It's all that stuff is terrible. Listen, I took a light molestation as a kid. I don't do jokes. Everything I say is true. Anyway, whatever. But I'm just saying there are different grades. Not every it's not all equal. I wasn't in the closet. It was a light. I took a light molestation. So my neighbor asked me to see it, and I was like, what? And he goes, I'll give you baseball cards. And then I was like, if we do this, I'm keeping the card. You're not gonna pull some shit where I show it to you, and then you run off. And then I pulled it out, and he was like, ooh. And I was like, all right. And then, I don't know. I don't have a punchline, but some people call it molestation, some people call it a good deal. It depends on how. I got a Ken Griffey Jr. out of that. It's a matter of perspective. The point.
Normally that makes me feel better, man. I be needing to feel better a lot of times, man. This most recent time I need to feel better is because I recently got dumped. So I really don't like happiness and touching right now. I think it's stupid. I think that's mostly why you getting on my nerves, sir. I feel like you holding her like she gonna run, and that's kidnapping. That's illegal, sir. I just don't like happy couples because happy couples make it look easy, and it's not easy. It's hard to pick. I'm a bad picker. I don't find out I don't like stuff till it's way too late to do anything positive about it. I'm already out with you. Nothing I can do. Turns out I don't like a whole bunch of like yelling, like arguing, like the willingness to argue. It gets on my nerve. I'll tell you when I found this out about myself. I took this young lady out to go get something to eat. She really wasn't that cute, I'm gonna be honest. So we end up at McDonald's. Don't judge me, sir. You didn't see her, okay? You don't know. You don't know what I had to go through, all right? At the time, my car didn't exist. I was broke. I didn't have one. I didn't know. It didn't. She was driving. We pull up to the drive-thru. It's a very romantic drive-thru. It's very well lit and everything. We can see each other perfectly. She orders her food, but dude couldn't hear her. He said, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you speak up?" That's all he said to her. She went completely nuts for no reason. Started yelling immediately. "How did you get a job? I know your mama don't love you." I said pickles, nerd. She went nuts. After she gets finished cussing out the McDonald's drive-thru dude, she gonna turn to me talking about, "So Mike, what you wanna get?" Wendy's now? I'm not ordering from this dude. like that. I seen this movie. It don't work out for us in the end. That drop me off, guy. I'm not. Drop me off. I'm not going nowhere with you. Drop me off.
There's like two kinds of guys that get laid a lot. Like, really, you know? There's men who get laid a lot because they're charming, handsome, and successful. But there's also this other type of dude that gets laid a lot, which is men that you like look at them and you're like what would even happen? It's really the curiosity that gets to you, you know? Yeah. And so this guy ended up asking me out on a date. And, you know, I said yes, but I went with some questions, you know? And like I asked him on our first date, I was like, you know, I'm a little concerned about some of the stuff that you say on the internet. I think it is a bit sexist. And then he says to me, he's like, I can't be sexist. I'm actually a sub. So I'm like, okay, cool. At least he fantasizes about respecting women, you know? You know, it's like, I'm not like the most like dominant lady in the world or whatever, but at the same time, like, you know, I mean, I don't have like a super attachment to like traditional gender roles. Like, I'm a female stand-up comedian. Like, I fuck a lot of unemployed guys, you know, like, whatever, you know? But I still was like, I don't know, I don't think that I should fuck this troll guy. Maybe I would fuck him if it was like the apocalypse or something. But then like 3 weeks later, the pandemic started. And anyway, I just want to say, sorry if I manifested this. You know? Just like some weird little like sex switch or something. But, you know, so we ended up quarantining together. He moved in with me. And yeah, he was telling me the truth. He was sexually submissive, but he was not even domestically helpful. And yeah, you know, I think that a lot of women in the U.S. were doing way more than their fair share of, you know, domestic responsibilities during the pandemic. But I think it's especially egregious if your partner is a sub, because it's just like, dude, you're already crawling around on the floor on a dog leash. Just pick up your own fucking socks when you're down there, you know? Like, if you have a sub and he's not helping you around the house, I don't know what that is except for definitive proof that spanking does not work. Like, like it's hard enough dating an internet troll, right? Because it's like, I'm already, like, I can't make us dinner every single night. I'm already exhausted from justifying this relationship to my friends, you know? So, you know, I eventually was like, all right, you know, is there any way that we could maybe like incorporate your fetish, like maybe use it to make our relationship more equal, you know? Maybe I'll tie you up and then I'll gag you and I'll get a turn to talk. And yeah, he was not on board with that at all. He was like, I don't feel like it's very authentic when you dominate me. Which hurt my feelings because I did authentically want to hit him. You know, like, like I get it. Like, I'm 5'1". It probably, you know, it is a little funny when I'm like, that's right, bitch. But whatever, you know? Like, he was like, he asked me if we could have an open relationship. And I was like, I don't know, right? Because here's the thing. Like, I don't think that polyamory is bad, but I do think it's a little weird. Not to date multiple people, not to fuck multiple people, but to be nice to all of them. You know, like, I don't know if I could eye gaze with more than one person or even one person. Like I have like 2 sets of friends in my life, and one are friends that, like, you know, have settled down and have kids and they're trying to get me to have a kid now, and the other set of friends is like, you know, friends who like are poly and they're trying to get me to do that. And I'm like, I just want, like, you know, an option for my life that doesn't involve a third person crying. Like, I don't know what it is yet. I'm still looking.
Do you remember the first time you heard somebody, like a couple, like, met online? You're like, where'd they meet? They're like, they met online. You're like, whoa, what a bunch of weirdos. Now it's the opposite. Like, you're like, how'd they meet? They're like, oh, they just started talking at a coffee shop. I was like, what a bunch of weirdos. They didn't know each other? That's... Who in here who in here has been dating for like less than 3 months? Oh, that's good. It's like we're gonna test your relationship right now. Who in here is in an open relationship, but the other person doesn't know that? Who's polyamorous and also a liar? Yeah, we have an open relationship. I mean, I'm on the dating apps, but like they're terrible. But I don't know. I'm on Bumble. Anybody here on Bumble? Bumble is a dating app where the lady messages you first, theoretically, and when I do get, it really highlights how hard it is to make that first like message. But like, so when I do get a message on there, it's like a shitload of questions right out of the gate, like a questionnaire, basically, you know. So I was filling one out the other night, and her reply back to me was, she goes, "Okay, I just have one more question. Why do you have roommates?" And I was like, "Oh, I own the building, but I get scared at night. Like, what's your best guess? Why don't you take a guess? Take a guess at that." Did I say roommates? Those are my hedge fund traders. One of my hedge fund traders owes me $13. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Sucks. So obviously with an exchange like that, we're not going to be a match. We shouldn't go out. But if a lady asks me anything, I'm always like, yeah, sure. And it's not because I'm a gentleman. But we met up and it was terrible. It was a terrible date. Started off good, like pretty fun. Like she knew this like speakeasy type place, 1920s theme called Prohibition. And we were in there and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then the conversation started, which was the bad part. I was like, she was like, where are you from? Like, where were you born? And I told her I told you guys I was born in Iraq. And she was like, where's that? It's like, wow, you guys are really doing this 1920s thing here, aren't you? This is cool. Flappers. Am I right? Then she did this thing that drives me crazy. It's when somebody's talking about something obsessively, but they won't own it. They're like above it. Like, here's what I mean. She kept talking about Real Housewives, but she kept saying, that show's terrible. It shouldn't be on TV. I mean, it's the worst. I mean, you know, episode 4, season 3 of Real Housewives Orange County was a good. I'm like, you might like it. Calm down, you know? You might like it. She's like, no, it's just a guilty pleasure, you know, which is like a, you know, catch-all for everything. You know, she's like, everybody has them. She's like, give me 2 guilty pleasures. And I was like, all right. I guess one would be tax evasion. That's one. That's definitely one. Here's another one. Here's a good one. Having terrible conversation on the off chance I might have sex with somebody. That's another one. She was trying to be nice, I guess. At the end, she's like complimenting me in a way. She was like, you know what? I don't think you even know this, but you're so down to earth, and it's really refreshing. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. She goes, no, I don't think you do, really. It's like, you're so down to earth. I'm like, I know, thank you, but I know. She's like, I don't think you do. I'm like, yeah, I do know that. I'm about to be 50. I have 2 roommates. Of course I'm down to earth. I mean, it'd be weird if I wasn't. I was like cocky about that. It's like, yeah, I really have a really good outlook on this situation. You know? You want to come home? My roommate might be on the count. I don't know. I'm down to earth. Are you down to fuck? High five. Also, the only other dating app that I was pretty frequent on, I got kicked off of recently, is Farmers Only. I was on that one. Yes, everybody knows about Farmers Only, right? You've heard of it, right? Farmers Only. Trying to get farmers together in an aggressive way. Didn't it seem a little early for that dating service? That seems more like a dating app, like for the post-apocalyptic age. You know, where they're like, "Do you have a bunch of land with running water on it?" I sure do. I bet you do some titties on that land. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! I definitely could. Farmers Only. They're so mean too. They're like angry. All their ads, all their marketing is angry and mean. There's one commercial where there's like somebody trying to get on a horse, this girl, and she's not doing a good job, and then they pan out to two guys like a foot away from her talking about her like she's not there. One guy's like, "Why are you still dating this city girl?" And the other guy goes, "Hell, I don't know." Then the next scene is her being dragged across a field by that horse. Farmers only. She knew the rules. Showing up here with no plow experience. A beautiful woman, yeah, great personality, but no plow experience. I got kicked off there because I think they finally figured out that I'm wearing a turban in my picture, and my username is Sandstorm, like I was saying earlier. The title under mine is like, I like to party very a lot, and I'm farming hatred toward the West. Three likes, and then I got kicked off.
I wake up every single day terrified that I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna check my phone, and I'm gonna see Elon Musk is bisexual. Now I have to welcome him into the community. Jeff Bezos, gender fluid. I can't do it! I won't! Maybe I'm just kind of insecure a little bit, you know? A little bit insecure about being queer. You know, it's like I love it. I love being with women, but it can be challenging, right? I think it's hard, especially to be with women, because women notice everything. Women notice everything, right? Very perceptive creatures, are we not? Women notice everything. The slightest change in tone. The tiniest eyebrow raise, right? You're headed out to work, there's a quarter instep turn difference. And they'll stop you and just be like, whoa. Babe, I don't know what's going on with you right now. But I am holding space. And this is absolutely a safe container. And also, if I might add, I just want to say I'm proud of you. Yeah, I'm proud of you. Yeah, I'm proud of you because I see you working so hard every day. Not only on your own trauma, but ancestral trauma as well. And I think that that's brave. And I think that that's fantastic. And I think that you're a goddess. But mostly, I'm just grateful. Now, some of you guys might not know this, but what you actually just witnessed was, in fact, a lesbian breakup. Okay? If you didn't know, a lesbian breakup is just two women going back and forth, naming all of the things that they are grateful for in one another, okay? Back and forth, painfully long list, back and forth. I am so grateful to you, back and forth, back and forth. We don't even know why they're breaking up at that point. Back and forth, right? You have taught me so many lessons about myself and everyone else. I will never be the same without you. Back and forth, back and forth. Oh my God, I am so grateful, grateful. Oh my God, I am so grateful. I will build an altar to you in my home to honor the gratitude that I feel. I'll never be the same without you. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. You have changed the life of everyone that I know and love in the future and now. Back and forth, right? Until eventually we marry each other's exes, do we not? It's actually a very beautiful ritual. Yay, right! Yay! Okay, stop. If it doesn't go down that way, there is always Breakup TikTok. Which, if you don't know, Breakup TikTok is basically just a series of 14-year-olds with braces pulling tarot cards, okay? Saying things like,
If you love someone, you will let them go, and if it is meant to be, then they will come back to you, right?
and it's just me and all the other 8th graders in the comment section, like,
Claiming this! Claiming this!
Online dating is great. You got to go on to online dating, but it's just, there's too many sites for people that already have something in common. Like JDate seems like a stupid site. Jews already know where Jews are. You don't need a site for that. Black people meet, another dumb site. You know what's the worst? Christian mingle. Christians already have a place that they should meet other Christians. Are you telling me that Christians are at church going like this? I don't trust any of these motherfuckers. We should go to the internet. Let's go to the internet. Farmers are the only people that should be online. And the reason is they gotta walk 65 acres to get to the next. By the time you get to the next farm, you're like, what's up, girl? It's hot as a motherfucker out here, huh? Anyway, would you like to go out? No, fuck. You gotta put a sign up. Look, we're all online. That's why I need to know about you. You need to know about me. So let's have all your crazy on your profile. I'm just saying, be you. Be who you are currently online. I don't want to see a picture that's 30 pounds lighter, 15 years younger. Whatever defines you, have that on your profile. When I shake your hand is not when I'm supposed to find out about your hook. First date is not hook time, okay? I'm not supposed to be like, oh, okay, this bitch has a hook. Okay, hey. No, all your pictures should be like, you should be hanging on shit. Fuck yeah, you can't come with the hook on the first date. And I want to plan a proper date, too. What if I want to do something off the beaten path? I want to take you to make pottery. I'm trying to redo Ghost and you fucking it up. Would you use your other hand, bitch? What are you doing over here? No, if I find out you have a hook, I'm taking you fishing. You on the side of the boat. You fucking pull out a marlin and shit.
I was dating a guy. We dated for 3 months, and we were on our first date, right? So it's a first date. So we're doing first date stuff, right? We're at a bar, we're drinking, talking, taking muscle relaxers. It's like a first date. And I was asking him first date questions, like, what do you do? Where are you from? What do you max out at? Like, just stuff you want to know. I was like, oh, what's your middle name? Just ask him questions. What's your middle name? And he goes, my middle name is Paul. Now, reciprocity in like a normal conversation would dictate that perhaps his next question to me should have been, what? No, that's right. What's your middle name? But he never asked me my middle name, and I fucking remembered that. Because here's the deal. He wasn't necessarily wrong on not asking me that. Men and women communicate so differently. I'm surprised we can be in the same room without ripping each other's genitals off, quite frankly. If you went back and you said to him, why didn't you ask her middle name? He'd be like, what? At the time she had long hair. I thought she was a mermaid. Like, not even in the same stratosphere. And what's crazy is every guy in this room was like, yeah, right on, mermaid hair. I get it. And where I went wrong, where girls tend to go wrong, is I didn't tell him why I was mad. We don't tell you why we're mad, because you should know, which is insane. We barely know why we're mad. I don't know, but something happened and now I'm mad. I don't know why I'm mad, but you should know. The secrets are locked in my brain. Did you eat a key? I did. That and the plate and the leaves from earlier, I feel fat. We just sit there stoic with this like Stepford wife facade and we let it rot our brains and we sit there smiling, but it devolves. We're just like, he didn't ask my middle name. That means he doesn't want to get to know me, my hopes, my thoughts, my dreams, my feelings, my friends, my family will never have a baby. Like that's the way that devolves. So I began planning the breakup on the first date. We dated for about 3 months and at the conclusion of 3 months, I decided that I wanted to do a rain breakup. Felt the rain would be emblematic of the tears shed during the courtship. A lot of poetry in that. Rain breakup, wanna break up in the rain. Oh my God, rain, right? There's all different kinds of rain breaks up. You can do one in an alley crying. You could do one, you could be a young British country girl in the 1800s running through a field. No, I can't be. You're in a white dress, no shoes. Women actually weren't allowed to wear shoes until 1962. Fun fact. No, I can't be with you. I've been betrothed to another Jeremiah. Why I love you so much. No. Running in the rain and it's cascading. I've got long hair. They didn't have scissors back then either. Just long hair. I'd wrap it around like a belt. It's weird. And I'd be running and it would cascade over white, so it's just see-through. You wouldn't see areola, but you'd see nipple bumpage, right? Like Rachel, Friends, circa 1997, network nipple, right? Running. Fucking doing it. No bra. Running hard. No bra. Because in your fantasy, your tits are like rocks. Just running.
Great. You guys are great. We're going to have a great time tonight. I promise you that. I never had a venereal disease. I've been lucky. Well, I ate crabs once. I don't know if that's a disease. That's an animal. So I've had pets on my balls. I mean, just on my balls, not my eyebrows. That'd be disgusting. You know how you get rid of crabs? Do you know that? It's easy. You have to shave one, for the guys, you have to shave one of your balls, one of them only, completely bald, like tabletop smooth. One nut, completely smooth. And you take a lighter, it has to be Bic, and you light your hairy ball on fire. And then they freak out. All the crabs run over to the bald ball for safety, and then you stab them with an ice pick. Did you know that? That's how you get rid of crabs. That's how I get rid of my... There's also a shampoo, I think, but... That's why I can't make babies. I stab my nuts with an ice pick getting rid of crabs. Speaking of making babies, I saw Tracy Morgan when I first moved to L.A. I'm not a big fan of Segways, but I gave it a shot. I hate Segways. When I first moved to L.A., I'm at my house drinking with my buddies. Way back in the day, we were just fucking hammered. And you could tell because we were just fucking hammered. And my friend goes, Tracy's at the Improv. Let's go see Tracy Morgan at the Improv. I'm like, okay, great. But I was way too drunk to drive. And I'm like, I can't. I'm too drunk to drive. But if you're an alcoholic, your next thought is, well, then how the fuck am I going to get there? You know? So I got in the car, and my rationale was, I'm going to drive as fast as I can. That way all the accidents are behind me. Not my business. I pull up to the Improv. I was so drunk. I remember I actually pulled my car onto the sidewalk because I thought I was helping the valet. I get out of the car, it was still in drive, and I rear-ended the car in front of me. I walk into the Improv. This isn't the worst part of the night. Tracy Morgan is fist-fighting the audience in the hallway of the Improv. It's like, in the little ass, what the fuck happens between, hey, how's everybody doing tonight, and just fucking throwing hands? I mean, that's what I walked into. Tracy Morgan's like, yeah, and he's talking shit the whole time. It's like 100 to 1, and it's even for some reason. Like, Tracy can box, and he's talking shit the whole time. He's like, yeah, I miss my daughter, goddammit. Shirt's off. He's like, yeah, let's do this, goddammit. I miss my daughter. He's just fucking boxing, knocking dudes out with body shots. Yeah, I miss my daughter. He didn't fucking have a daughter. Did you know that? He had like 3 sons. One of them is older than he was. I don't even know how that shit works. That is other level ghetto activity when you take your fucking father to get his driver's license. My son's taking me to get my special day car.
It's been a weird few weeks, though. I was involved in a breakup last month. No, don't. It wasn't my breakup. No. I was at a Starbucks, and there was a couple sitting behind me, and I got involved in the breakup. It was a guy and a girl. I was sitting there, I was reading a book called Purity by Jonathan Franzen, which is a really good book, but it's not more interesting than hearing someone go, "Give me one good reason we shouldn't go out anymore, Michelle." And I was like, this can close. And the whole Starbucks was like, is this a public breakup? Like, we've heard the legends, but is this happening in front of us? And my first thought was like, who breaks up in person? Right? You stop texting, you unfriend, they go away. It's how it works. She was clearly the one doing the breaking up because he said, give me one good reason we shouldn't go out anymore. And by the way, she misheard him because he said, give me one good reason, and she heard, give me 35 reasons in a row, in public, as loudly as possible. And all of these reasons were variations on, you're not smart enough for me. She could have just said that. She didn't. She took a scenic route. He's like, give me one good reason we shouldn't go out anymore, Michelle. She's like, you're not smart enough for you, not educated for you, not mature enough for you, not emotionally mature enough for you, not sophisticated enough for you, taste music bad, taste clothing is like look at you. I can't remember like last time I picked up a book or magazine on a court. You're not intellectually curious. Your vocabulary isn't as extensive as I would like. And you're not very erudite. And you could see the whole Starbucks be like, he said one reason, right? And you could see the poor guy like wanting to argue with her, but also thinking like, what does erudite mean? And this is where I stepped in. She said, hey, Kev, which by the way, that is enough of a reason for me. Hey, Kev, we should just be friends. That is the worst possible start to a friendship. Hey, I never want to have sex with you ever again. Here's a laundry list of reasons you're one of the dumbest people I've ever met. Also, we should hang out sometime. And I turned around in a crowded Starbucks. I couldn't help myself, and I went, he has enough friends. And the whole Starbucks stopped live tweeting the breakup, and they're like, what the fuck is happening now? And this guy sold me out immediately. He went, he's not with me. And I was so caught up in the moment that I was like, Kev, I'm with you all the way.
So when I was 22, I already had a pretty good job in the tech industry. The next thing I was in search of was a boyfriend. A little bit on my sexual history up until that point. Like many women of my generation, sex first came into my consciousness in the year 1998. America had fallen in love with a young brunette by the name of Monica Lewinsky. She was my introduction to sex, and she was a good one. I recently saw a headline. It was a photo of Bill and Monica together, and it said, "Report, Lewinsky scandal took Clinton's eye off Bin Laden." Imagine being so good at giving head that you get blamed for September 11th. She's an icon. An icon. I was really fascinated by her. I was 7 years old. I held up a newspaper with Monica's face on the cover, and I asked my dad why she was in the paper. He pulled the paper away from me and said, "That's not for you." 10 years later, I gave my first blowjob, and all I could think was, Dad was right. I lost my virginity to that same man, my high school boyfriend. We had sex, And then 2 weeks later, we had sex for a second time. At which point it became abundantly clear. What we had done the first time was definitely not sex. If I were to give you a visual, do you remember in the 7th Harry Potter book, the Deathly Hallows symbol? It's a rock with a wand over it. It's like this. You guys seeing? Everybody seeing the... This was the... That's the only Harry Potter reference we're gonna have tonight, but... And then I took basically all of college off from a sex and dating perspective. As I mentioned, I studied math. So I was launched into young adulthood without much of a clue, but I was determined to catch up very quickly. My first year in San Francisco, my first year out of college, I went on 125 first dates. That's too many. You never want your number of first dates to be statistically significant. Except I did, of course, because I thought repetition was the key to success. And there was so much to learn. There are so many rules to dating, I still don't know them all. Like, I have a third date tomorrow, and I'm trying to decide if I should sleep with him. What do you guys think? Yes. Everyone thinks yes? Okay, it's a 10 p.m. crew. To be fair, I already have twice, but... Specifically curious about the third time. I very quickly learned the secret to making all this dating bearable, which is that I would get drunk every time I did it. And what I observed was that the more I drank, the more dates I could go on, and this seemed like a very positive trend. Unsurprisingly, all this drunk dating coincided with me beginning to have a lot of casual sex for the first time in my life. I was very slutty that first year out of college. Or as they say in Silicon Valley, I had an open sourced pussy. It's like crypto. Everyone got in, whether or not they admit it now. It was fun though, it was experimental. I was trying new things, I was down to learn. Like, I went through a period of having an enormous amount of phone sex. I had to quit though because the new iPhones didn't fit. Despite what I said about Monica, I learned to love giving blowjobs. I really do. Because I hate conversation. At least men are nice enough to not try to talk to me while they got their junk in my mouth. Cannot say the same thing about going to the dentist. Oh my God. Anytime I'm at the dentist and his dick is in my mouth. No, I don't floss, okay?
Last year was bad for a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons for me was that my girlfriend broke up with me. Yeah, I know, it's sad. And I don't know how to tell people that because I feel like if I say my girlfriend broke up with me, it sounds like she's still my girlfriend, right? But if I say my ex-girlfriend broke up with me, it sounds like a double negative. So I think we're just like together forever, you know, just like gonna get married one day, really killing it. Yeah. No, she did. She broke up with me via email. Ooh, yeah. Have you ever received an email that had no subject line? And then you open up that email, it's like a 2-paragraph suggestion of breakup? Just me? Okay. Awesome. And I guess I could have pretended like I never got it, right? I'm just like, what breakup letter? That shit went to my spam. Because that's garbage. So. Yeah, she did, and I like knew she was gonna break up with me, but I was kind of like putting it off, you know? I was like, I'll deal with this later. It's like every time your phone sends you an iOS update, right? It's like, hey, time to update your iOS, and you're like, nah, it's fine. I got used to this one, like I don't wanna try something new right now. And then like 2 months later, your phone is like, hey, half your apps aren't working and you're extremely unhappy. Do you wanna update your iOS? And you're like, no, everything's
and then a year later, your phone just breaks. Yeah, so my phone broke. And now I'm without a phone. It's fine. I have been sad about it, so I think my body was like slowly rejecting me out of that sadness and despair because I've had a raging yeast infection for the last 6 months. No big deal. I'm dying. So.
I went up the street to talk to my friend. I was like, hey man, Rachel broke up with me. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, yeah, can we talk about it? Go to a bar or something? He's like, yeah. Instead of a bar, how about we head over to 7th Avenue Donut Shop? And I was like, you know, maybe we go to a bar. Instead. And he was like, this place has been around for 75 years. And I was like, you know, and we'll do the Brooklyn food tour another time. And right now, maybe we have a beer and go to a bar. And he's like, but I think you'd really love their donuts. And I was like, cool, we'll go to the donut shop. I can't wait to go to the donut shop. As we're walking over there, I'm just like, is there a reason why you like forced this place on me? He's like, I've gone once or twice and it's a fun place. I think you'll enjoy it. And I was like, I feel like you go here a lot. He's like, I don't go here a lot, okay? It just thought you might enjoy it. And then he walked in first and I was right behind him and the first server that sees him says, uh-oh, the donut man's here. And I was like, you're the donut man? He's like, I've never heard that before. And then another server was like, I'm gonna be up with the usual that you just had this morning. And I'm like, huh, double dipping today, huh, donut man? So I was sitting down, we're at this booth, and just like kind of pouring out my feelings, you know, to the donut man. And at one point I was just like, I kind of want to like call her or text her to just like ask a few questions. And he reaches across the table, he's like, listen to me. It's like, yeah? He's like, you do not call, you do not text. You move on with your life and you find someone who loves you for who you are. We'll have 2 more glazed donuts, please. And I left and I went home and I was pretty inspired and comforted by what the donut man had said. And I was cleaning up around my desk and I moved some things and I saw that there were 2 tickets for Open Container from 4 months ago that I had never paid. And so I got the ticket out and I called the Brooklyn County Courthouse and I said, hi, I have these tickets from 4 months ago that I haven't paid. What should I do? And they're like, well, that means that there's a warrant out for your arrest. And I was like, so what do I do now? And they're like, you come to court tomorrow and you look sharp. I was like, okay, and what do I do? And they're like, you plead guilty or not guilty, but you look sharp. I was like, okay, and so I put on a suit the next day and I woke up early and I went down to the Brooklyn County Courthouse and when I walked in, I looked around and I was the only person that looked sharp. I mean, the judges and the lawyers were in pajamas, basically. And I walk into the courtroom and people are like heckling me, like people are making fun of my suit. People are like, nice suit, white boy. I'm like, dude, you're white too. And I sat down and as they're saying anything with Open Container, I'm hearing that they're saying what alcohol it is. So they're saying like John Alvarez for 24 ounces of Heineken, or Rich Binning for 16 ounces of Georgie vodka. And then they said, Kevin James Doyle for 750 milliliters of Rock Rabbit red wine. And the courtroom explodes with laughter, and people start heckling me. I'm like walking by and someone's like, hey, does that go well with a gamey meat? And then somebody in the back is like, yo, metric system can suck my dick. And I was like, hey, that's the type of attitude that's keeping this country on an inefficient system, sir.
I did go through a breakup a couple months ago, which I thought was good because it meant it was a real relationship, finally. Right? Usually I'm like, it's over. And he's like, who's this? I don't know. I don't know this number. wish we could bring breakups back from before the internet, right? It was easier. We could just be like, listen, I'm sorry it didn't work out. Have a nice life. Go away. Right? Simple. Now it's like, sorry it didn't work out. I will see you online forever. Or if it was a messy breakup, you could be like, I'm gonna block your phone number, and they'd be gone, right? One thing. Now it's like, I'm gonna block your phone number, then I'm gonna defriend you on Facebook, unfollow you on Twitter, take you off my Instagram, do whatever it is to get rid of the Snapchat, and get my mom to do the same thing. There were so many clues he wasn't the right person for me. I feel like there's usually clues, right, that we ignore for 4 to 5 years. One clue is we had very little in common, except we both really loved him. Sounds crazy. He actually said these words to me once. He was like, I love you more than you love me because I love myself so much. You need to love yourself more so that you can love me more. And I was like, actually, I think we both need to love you less. Because the more I love you, the more I hate myself for loving a guy who loves himself so much.
Dating, of course, in your late 30s also changes a lot too. It's a different ball game, you know. It's a different world. But I am in a transitional phase right now, okay? I am no longer a fuckboy. Thank you. No, I am now a fuck man, okay? I can't keep dating like this, guys. I can't be like 90 doing this. I can't be a fuck papa. The grandkid comes up and she's like, excuse me, fuck papa? And I'm like, yes? And she's like, why'd you never marry grandma? Well, I'm keeping my options open. I have 3 days left to live. We'll see what happens. Something can happen, something. Yo, your stories change on dates when you're in your late 30s. It's wild, okay? Because when you're young, you have a lot of hope. It's great. Early 20s, you go on a date, you're like, hey, so do you want to like maybe get married, have kids? Early 30s, you're like, so, do you want to maybe get married, have kids? Late 30s, you're like, so, what happened? Do you want to go first, or like... Dating apps are weird now. Dating apps in your late 30s are really much less like dating apps and much more like humane societies. You're like, this is Allie. She just got out of a 4-year relationship with the DJ. Will you help her find a home? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.